Muchachos y muchachas, The Secrets of Playboy. This is a show that I have been very invested in watching. This is showing on A&E Network, and the show pretty much canvases the dark world of Playboy and everything that we have seen outside of the glamorized nature of it. You know, we've seen things like The Girls Next Door, a E special where it shows the life of the rich and famous within the Playboy sphere, the celebrities, the parties, everything. But now that Hugh Hefner has passed away, you know, time ago, now the secrets come out. Now they leak out. And this series has really illustrated that, you know, within the pre-mobilized world of information, in a world where a lot more was easier to be swept under the rug and kept in the dark, now the dark secrets come out. And in this episode, season 1, episode 4, they covered the aspect of drug trafficking within the mansion of the Playboy mansion and the dark details of some deaths, some suicides, so they called it. But many speak out against what the main narrative was, and they give a lot of background to that. And we'll cover some high aspects here. Now, as I always preface, there might be some spoilers for those who do like to watch the show and then get the recap here. So think of this as some sort of recap, but I basically cover what I have learned within the episode. So within episode 4, stay right there. We're going to go through it. The fear of wrinkles sometimes stunt my self-confidence. I tried anti-aging serums, natural health supplements, and everything in between. Nothing seemed to work, and I was starting to lose hope. But that's when I was recommended this amazing new face serum, and my life has never been the same. My results with Age Glow have been nothing short of miraculous. Within no time, this product helped reduce the appearance of fine lines, return my skin's elasticity, and give my skin a more youthful glow. My skin is much more vibrant now and is tighter, firmer, and smoother than I've ever seen it in years. I highly recommend Glow with Natalie. Get it today for up to 38% off for a limited time by going to glowwithnatalie.com or clicking the link below. Okay, season 1, episode 4. The Secrets of Playboy. So I mentioned it in my intro that this was a lot of canvassing over the world of drug trafficking within this episode. Something I had no idea that happened. Now, I did know within discovering it in an article about, you know, we're just going to call them date rape drugs, quaaludes that were utilized, and they did cover that within this episode, but they go into intricate detail as to how they obtained this and how it was trafficked in. So we start off with the episode gaining the testimony of a previous girlfriend, Sandra, and she gives her insight of being around Hugh Hefner, being his girlfriend for so many years, and hearing the details discussed on the a person by the name of Bobby Arnstein, who was a executive assistant, a secretary to Hugh Hefner, basically saw and knew a lot of things, including the dark trade. And so she goes into the reminiscence of, you know, seeing these types of conversations happen within colleagues of Hugh Hefner. And she breaks the ice of a woman by the name of Bobby Arnstein. Now, Bobby Arnstein, again, she was an assistant. She was very close to Hugh Hefner. And there was a lot of speculation and rumor within the federal agency as to what could have been going on behind closed doors at the mansion. And that's when they targeted Bobby Arnstein. Now, Bobby Arnstein, she was we're just going to say suicided. She was actually convicted. She had to testify in court. And after being convicted and being I guess, concluded to serve a sentence within prison. You know, I guess the feds wanted to talk to her a bit more, crack open a lot more details about the specific intricate details in which then the narrative goes that she committed suicide because she did not want to do that. Although the people within this episode talk about her actually wanting to talk about it. She was actually going to move forth with the quiz on what was going on behind closed doors. Now, that's where it happens, where a lot of people are testifying here of many respects, you know, her ex-boyfriend, you know, or actually somebody that she dated, the feds that were actually included in this investigation, that, you know, a lot of her behavior didn't line up with committing suicide because she showed intention to comply with authorities and talk on the issue. So they then go into another person by the name of, I think her name is Adriana, but they called her Addie. Now, Addie goes into detail, or I'm sorry, her family goes into detail about how, you know, her life kind of became transformative. And backing it up, Addie was actually a playmate. And they did give detail as to how Addie transformed in her behavior, you know, from being a girl next door to all of a sudden her running drugs for the mansion. And, you know, a lot of details coincided between these two women, Bobby Arnstein, excuse me, and with Addie, how, you know, there were just so many hidden details, like drugs being hidden within the mansion and household objects, and, you know, just different schedules that didn't really add up, right? And, you know, many of these people who testified, you know, especially those that were, I would say, in management under the mansion, they testified on details that, you know, these prescriptions were obtained through various staff members. They would actually keep a calendar and rotate, you know, the Quaaludes, how they would be distributed from what prescription. So it was very calculated in how they did that. Now, they arrested Bobby Arnstein with I believe, a small amount of cocaine on her, and that was enough to get her charged. So with that being said, it's Hugh Hefner. One of the big details that I got from this is that Hugh Hefner never left the house. So it was questionable as to how he got so much volume in these narcotics. How did he get these narcotics? It had to come from somewhere. And that's where the big question of drug trafficking and, you know, the requests coming upon the drug trafficking came from, because he never left the house. So it had to come in somehow. And so when Bobby was convicted, she then told the feds that or the feds told her that there was a hit on her, essentially. And this was one of the amounting details that pointed to Bobby Arnstein not committing suicide herself. And as far as Addie, she was actually found dead in an overdose. And she also herself, that she wasn't amounting to any sort of behavior that was suicidal. And, you know, this is one of the biggest things that we learned is like the hit jobs, the hidden contracts that were going on within the mansion. And a lot of it did come up, you know, to the horizon, that there was some sort of, you know, conversations that were going on that definitely wanted to keep this hidden within the bounds of the mansion and the staff. We learned in the previous episode that there was a cleanup crew. And so this cleanup crew, they were basically staff. They were called security. That's it. They were just called security. They were just a damage control group within the mansion. Whether it would be, a lot of it did involve managers that actually confess in this documentary that they were expected to clean up the messes. They were expected to keep these girls who were possibly sexually assaulted, and also, you know, violated by the Johns, or, you know, we'll call them they were Johns, but they were also, you know, Playboy key holders in a Playboy membership for clubs that they had around the nation. And the cleanup crew, their responsibility was to keep things under wraps. Don't let this get to the police. Don't let this get to, you know, the medical environment. So these girls were essentially assaulted. They were brutalized pretty bad. And I actually didn't go into this part last episode, but I'll go into it now because, you know, obviously it's been some time since episode 3. But, you know, these girls were really badly raped. I mean, they were really in a bad condition, even sodomized in one episode where these girls were actually held captive. They were kidnapped, held against their will at it was like a I forget his name, but he was a Soul Train host, like a TV host. He took these girls back to his mansion, and they were brutalized, held against their will, bounded, and brutalized. And even in an extreme episode like that, they still would not allow these girls go back, go to law enforcement, file a report, go to a hospital. They had to be cared for at home by one of the mansion staff, which now retrospectively, as we look at all of this is criminal, and all of this is being hidden. And, you know, even so, you see people like Hugh Hefner's son coming out and saying, oh, you know, these are lies, and they're just trying to slander my dad because they're scorned women, you know, coming out the industry, or they didn't get what they wanted. You know, they wanted money, they wanted fame. And, you know, these are things that we really have to come in perspective as a society, because, you know, this is why I'm even watching this series, because, you know, we see such a facade of this lifestyle of the rich and famous, and, you know, people with money, you know, with all of this influence and affluence. And, you know, we really don't see the other side. We don't see the brutal side, the cover-up side, the paid-off people, and people who are trauma bonded and held against their will to do what they wanted them to do. And, you know, this really does paint a really, really nefarious picture for Playboy, up to the point where it makes me wonder, where is their statement today? You know, these are some pretty serious claims to make that are corroborated by many witnesses and many staff members. And it's a surprise to me that, you know, even today, that Playboy hasn't addressed any of these claims. They haven't addressed any of these concerns, especially when it comes in a day of age of the Me Too movement, and, you know, people becoming more aware of these nefarious characters out in the open, in the, you know, the lifestyle of the rich and famous, Hollywood, you know, the elite. And, you know, we're moving darker and darker as we go forward in the series, and it makes me wonder what else is going to come out, right? Because there's just so much embedded in this dark industry. You know, just the people don't view the pornography and the, you know, the adult industry as anything harmful. They think that, you know, these women are all consensual, and that, you know, they're doing this on their will. But, you know, a lot of times, I'm not going to say all, you know, let's be realistic. Sometimes these women do consent to this, but a lot of times women in this industry are coerced, or men too as well, coerced and frauded into this industry. And essentially that is a psychological manipulation. And, you know, just seeing how dark this got, you know, it went from what we all suspected, you know, sexual assault, you know, just a lot of regulation within the mansion, and psychological manipulation, but it's moving more dark. It's moving into this place where these elite who visited the mansion, who visited the clubs, who were politicians, who were stars, who were, you know, high level names, that they knew that they could get whatever they wanted at the mansion, whether it be drugs or, you know, sex, or, you know, whatever they wanted to be serviced on. And they utilized this mansion to manipulate women and girls into doing what they wanted them to do. So anyway, the series moves darker and darker. You know, this series really encompassed a lot of suicide, a lot of, well, I say suicide, but you guys catch my drift here. A lot of questionable motives and what actually has been swept under the rug all of these decades within the industry of Playboy. So that's, I know it's a short video, but that's basically my recap of episode 4. Again, I kind of give high points of these episodes. I never go into deep intricacies because I do want to give you guys the opportunity to view the series if you can. It's on A&E. It's a really good production and it's very transparent. I can say that for sure. But yeah, I mean, it's very eye-opening, this glamorized industry, pervasive culture, how it's more prominent now than it ever has been. It's more out in the open and normalized now than it ever has been. So anyway, that is my recap on season 1, episode 4 of Secrets of Playboy. Guys, thank you so much for watching this. Please give me your thoughts if you have watched this episode down in the comments below. Thanks so much for supporting the channel. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing and telling somebody about this channel. I will catch you guys in the next episode.